Here we go. And I even made this short, so that way none of the results would show. I can make the window bigger.
Oh, that's really smart.
Because I wanted, oh no though, this is not updating.
Yeah, you're gonna have to redo that.
Oh no.
No, don't do anything with that. Don't do anything with that. Like,
okay.
Why would you move that? It's over here. So then, you
just a second, little problem. Things aren't updating.
Go on, change it to that, change it back to that. There you go.
Well, why I was doing the other thing is I didn't know what to go to. I was going to go to YouTube. I didn't know what I needed to do.
All right.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're back home, but obviously technology is always our friend.
I know. We're going to go over them today. All right.
And what wasn't updating was it was not showing what was actually going on the screen. Namely that I had put up like the Patreon stuff. I can't go over much more, dear.
I just want to be more than 50% on the screen. That's all.
And you should be.
Mm-hmm.
So you just get all up in here. I cleared off a whole space for you. You just... Okay, just don't knock things over. That's my one thing.
Wait, which ones?
Any things. Don't knock any of my things over. I've got my little piles of this is to do tonight/tomorrow. These are things, you know, that I update regularly. And then this is my later pile.
I can't knock over any one thing.
And this is, of course, my kombucha.
You gotta let me knock over something.
Then I got my water. See if you dare knock it over.
Oh, I would never.
Exactly.
Yeah. Knock over Vincent.
Poor Vincent. David's in a destructive mood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Grandma's here. Hey! And yes, Bubba, David is a cat. It is confirmed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Mateus, you know, tell your NYC friends, come on down for CopyCon.
Yeah, it's not that far. There are trains. In the United States, there's like 2 of them.
Jake had some apple and raspberry kombucha yesterday. Ooh, delicious. Okay. Oh my gosh, I forgot to look if I have any birthday shout-outs I need to do. I need to look that up real quick before we actually get started. Oh my, I am a wee bit behind. Let's see. May, and now I gotta remember what day it is. It's the 11th. Ah, Blauerkex, if you are here, happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all for now.
Oh
Done.
my, I could really go for some blueberry juice.
We have blueberries. We can juice them. Actually, would you like that? I'll make you a blueberry juice. You're right, Bubba, but I got things started. I wonder, Jake, what's the IPA on that? Chiclou? Chiclou. Oh my god, Silvertail was a little jump scared by Vincent screaming.
Oh.
Like joined in right when you hit.
It was just a goat. It's a natural and beautiful sound. One of the rich tapestry of sounds that make up our audio world.
Sure. Okay. So, David.
Yeah.
Do you want to get on this poll?
Yeah, we got a couple of things to do, or I do.
Oh, okay.
To do.
Well, then I will.
One of them is the poll. So,
Chiclou.
That's
nasal.
Chiclou. Well, what the heck is that thing underneath the...
There's a nasal and an accent?
Oh, they're doing that under thing for nasalization that's done in Polish. I can't say that I agree with that. nor do I sanction it.
I wonder if you recall, there was an example I was trying to make you read, and it had that little thingy, and it's the retroflex hook, but maybe that was under nasalization.
No,
that thingy.
I mentioned that.
Did you?
Yeah, if you go back and check the tape.
I did not pay attention. Hey, so that reminds me though, everybody, patrons, there is finally a LangTime Chat episode 39 posted. Only a day late, or 10. But it's live now, and it's a lot of fun. It's bringing back a game. And by bringing back, I mean a new game.
New game.
But bringing back games to LangTime Chat podcast. And David had fun being the one and only contestant.
Yeah. Respectfully disagree on that, but also look forward to the June 1st podcast. I know this one just came out, but in the June 1st podcast, I think Jesse just kind of offhandedly revolutionized conlanging, and I mean that quite seriously. So I almost feel bad about holding it back for a few weeks, but you know, it's nice having a nice, consistent, regular schedule.
It is, but as Mateus says, a podcast is never late, nor is it early. And so maybe Mateus was hinting before you even said that we could go ahead and release whatever podcasts we want.
No,
we're going to wait. You're going to wait June 1st.
Yep.
But I can make it like 12:01 midnight.
Yeah.
June 1st. Like it can drop real early that day. Because we already recorded it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because I was wondering the same thing, Miles. But
it didn't look right.
I should have looked it up before I kept it in there.
You know,
because of the way that it was showing up. But it's like,
what if they actually meant to put those in as like zero morphemes and
I
then
think
forgot to put the hyphens?
Yeah, I think. Well, no, the hyphens were in there. I took the hyphens out because you hate hyphens and glossing, and so I tried to make it more David friendly.
Oh, but that was just in the reading part. I mean, that was just in the...
I took out the hyphens from the language examples because you hate glossing. And so I only kept them in where it was relevant in the portions where I needed to show that there was like a tense marker or whatever.
Oh, sorry.
And so, yeah, that's really unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, what would you do without your weekly dose of David politely disagreeing? And we're going to put politely. Respectfully.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In cute little bunny quotes. Okay, sorry, Jonathan. I really hope you did not just destroy your phone case. However, if you did, I really hope the phone inside of the case is still fine. Okay.
All right. So yeah, I said we're going to do a couple of things. Definitely one of them is the poll. So as a reminder, we had this idea, or was it we, or I don't know, one of us had the idea that, we're deciding the number base for our dog language, like we do with all the other languages, but many languages have sub-bases. And a sub-base is the type of thing where it's usually a leftover, a holdover from an older system. You actually also see it sometimes in visual systems as well. I'm thinking of Mayan, where it's like there's a special glyph for 5, and then a special glyph for 10, and then a special glyph for 20, but then like once you hit 20, it's just 20s after that. Anyway, so we decided to do that with our number system, with the rationale being that once the dogs came together and kind of settled on their language, they would settle into using some of the older base numbers from the older variant dog languages. And so what we were going to do was we're going to put up a bunch of bases, like for a poll. Like this wouldn't have been good for just deciding on one base. But we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Is that right? Yeah, and that was cutting it down.
It was.
Yeah.
Actually, I was the one who took out some larger ones that David had suggested, namely because I was then having flashbacks to Ingala.
Yeah. And so what we were going to do was we were going to say essentially the top 3 vote getters were going to win. Not the one with the highest number. No, yes. Yeah, I think that, well, anyway, it didn't shake out this way, but I think the one with the highest number of votes was going to be the ultimate winner, and then the 2 below that had the most number of votes were going to be the sub bases. So not sure what we would have done had there, like, say, the second place one would have been base 20 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, but
Got your answer from Buren. Mine is base 20 sub 5 with dots for 1 counts and lines for 5 counts and a character for 0.
Yeah, so that's the one I was thinking of. I learned to.
Oh yeah, Silvertail. I heard that too. Bases. I heard that.
Yeah, isn't it?
I would just say bases.
Okay, but I learned about the visual Mayan number system when I was a senior in high school, so I remembered that.
How would you say, like, there are 4 bases on a baseball field? Would you say bases?
No, bases. But
Okay.
like, oh, you know what? Bases is the plural of bases, isn't it?
I think so.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so anyway.
Oh, and Graham just said that's the plural of basis.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo! Okay.
Right. So, ordinarily with a poll with this variety, and we were doing something like this, you might think, oh, everybody gets to vote for as many as they want. But no. Patrons were instructed to vote for their favorite highest base, with special instructions that if something like base 6 or base 5 won, then we would take the ones above it, just by default. Anyway, so there were a lot of ways that this poll could have come out, could have been extremely interesting. Oh, but to go over how we were getting these, base 5 was 4 paws and a tail. Base 6, 4 paws, the tail, and the head. Base 10, the 5 digits on either hand, with the understanding that the dew claw is going to become a thumb, but just for the front ones.
The hands.
Base 11 was the 5 digits on either hand and the tail. Base 12 was the 5 digits on either hand, plus the hand pad on either hand, because it's kind of a raised thing. It's, it could be used for counting. Base 13, the 5 digits on either hand, plus the hand pad, plus the tail. And then base 18, 5 digits on either hand, and the 4 digits on either foot, because there's no dew claw down there, or not a developed one, at least as far as I saw. And then base 20, 5 digits on either hand, plus the hand pad, and then the 4 digits on either foot.
So, I want to say that, I think it was the day after you put this poll up, you sent me that post of the dog that was born with the tiny little tail on its forehead.
Oh, that's right.
Like an extra tail, but it was on its forehead, just right here, and it was just the cutest little tail.
And it was the cutest little dog.
Oh my God, yeah, the dog was cute. But anyway, I was like, David, you did not account for an extra tail in this counting system.
Not at all. That would be a half. That's
all right, fair.
A base of like 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah. 4 paws, the tail, the head, and the head tail.
Really cute. Like, really, really cute.
It was really cute. You can Google it. All right. So, anyway, so the votes. This is how they went. First of all, base 13 of all things was the least popular. Had 0 votes. The only option that had absolutely no votes. Nobody went in for base 13.
13's unlucky,
I know, and I guess in general, people did not like the hand pads idea. So, in next to last place, then, each of which had 1 vote, there was base 20, another one with a hand pad, the largest one. Base 12, another one with a hand pad. And then base 10, which I think gets, I think people
I think it's a bad rap because our patrons do not like a standard base 10.
I know, and there's really no reason for it.
I am shaking my head at you.
I can't believe that none of them are base 10, right?
Not that I know of, because Angela is crazy.
Yeah.
We did base 8 for Woke with Yishu. I don't remember Tapachla, but I feel like 4 probably.
I want you to read what I
And
just read.
sarcasm, I think, is 12. I once encountered a dog in Istanbul with 2 noses, which sounds like the setup for a joke, but it's not. Is that what you just read?
That's what I just read.
I figured. Bibleridian, that's amazing. I would
have wagered my body hair on the fact that Bibleridian had not been to Istanbul.
Oh, that's what you're surprised by, not the 2 noses.
That's the A part of it. The B part of it is the 2 noses. Because frankly, if there's a 2-nosed dog in Istanbul, the city of cats, why would it be presented to Bibleridian?
Well,
were you there on a dog tour?
Or Biblerian's just walking along and there was the dog.
This needs to be a much longer story.
Well, and I'm also very curious about the noses because it's like, were they side by side? Were they like?
I'm gonna guess side by side.
I'm so curious. Okay, so yeah, patrons do often vote for the most complex things. Mateus, right there with you. Right there with you. I will say my conlangs are my own conlangs are pretty much all base 10.
Yeah, and most of the ones that we do for movies and stuff are base 10 just because, we don't want to.
Don't forget to go live chat if you want to see everything. Oh, we did do it. Maniche was base 6. If you remember that. Oh, both dogs and cats just kind of lie about in the Istanbul metro. According to Miles, so. Well, according to TikTok and then through Miles. So yeah. I'm such an oddball. That poll is from David. Okay.
And Bibleridian, you're gonna have to change your apparently true story to match the results of this
we
poll.
didn't actually do the winners yet, did we?
No,
we were just like base 10 was out, and then that turned into a whole thing.
I was just completely overthrown by that. I just don't know what to do with that. Anyway, that leaves 4 options. Okay, so that leaves base 5, base 6, base 11, and base 18. The question was, which of these is going to be on the outs? And that would be base 5 with 6 votes. So base 5 is struck off. And so then, if you are interested in knowing the actual results, we can give them to you. As it happened, base 18 came in first place with 11, base 6 in second place with 9, and base 11 right behind with 8. But essentially, that is going to be our system. We're going to have a base 18 number system with sub-bases of base 11 and base 6. And these are going to be essentially, what do you call it? They're going to be lexical systems. They're going to be lexical systems. And so as we come up with words for these, you're going to see evidence of an earlier base 6 system, and then an earlier base 11 system, and then ultimately a base 18 system for the numbers.
Matesa is a really cute idea. Okay. So cool. When we get to numbers, well, let's go ahead and note that in the document, because if you recall, we forgot one time and had 2 votes on a base.
We did.
I think that was in Wokuthishu.
All right, I'm going to go down to...
So we're going to go ahead, and now I can make this screen bigger. I didn't want people to get a preview of what votes made it in, and so I made that screen all
I'm going to go down to the
small.
Number table and write it underneath there.
There we go.
Okay.
Although actually right now I can just leave that there and go here.
We'll have a base 18 number system with lexical
There we go.
sub-bases in evidence.
Hey, Karis.
For base 11 and base 6. Anyways, in the document,
Oh, Graham has already come up with a suggestion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 1, 6 plus 2, 6 plus 3, 6 plus 4. And then 11. 11 plus 1, 11 plus 2, up to 11 plus 6. And then 18 minus 1, and then 18. Just trying to do maths.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that is 17 twice. But 17's a good number. Hey, Carl.
Yeah. Maybe there's just synonyms for 17. But that's interesting that you, I should stop the poll. Clearly we've made it. But I was thinking of it in the other direction.
Okay. A slight sideways bifurcation toward the end of the snout, and there are 2 separate, fully formed rhinaria, each with a separate pair of nostrils. Wow.
Yep. So they were side by side. So everybody got it right, first of all.
I really like Biblaridian's ability to just drop all these really fancy terms. It's very nice.
I mean, so, man, I now I have to know why on earth you were in Istanbul and why it wasn't for cats. But so I was actually thinking the other direction, that it was like it'd be base 6 up to 6, then base 11 would take over up to 11, then base 18 would take over. You actually had it going the opposite direction.
Where base 6 would keep up until
11, and base 11 would keep up until 18. That's very interesting. We can try both out, but I want to make a note of that too. This could be a second poll. Base 6 up to 11, base 11 up to 18, base 18 thereafter. And then option 1 is base, or option 2 is base 7 up to 6, base 11 up to 11.
So, as David's typing this, like I really want to watch the video Kay just sent us. Because what she followed the video up from TikTok with was Jesse and Whataburger versus What a Burger. And I swear, like, that's just how people said it, so I started saying it. But apparently not everybody said it that way, including Kay. And so I missed out on that. And so now I want to hear the video, but, like, I don't think I can play videos on a live stream without, I don't know, something happening. So, Kay, if you're out there listening, I will watch that video soon. I'm very excited.
All right. You say stuff for a second.
I'm going to say stuff for a second. Namely that sub-basis, the way it's written, looks like it should be a word in, like, not Finnish because there's no B's. Subbasis. That's a nice geminate B.
It's halfway to being towards Akkadian. There just needs to be some more hat-checks over the S's. And maybe another geminate.
We need a hat-check over an S. And there we go.
And another one.
Another S right there. Another hat-check? Or should I?
There we go. The E is strange because E is a rarer one.
Sub-basements. Nice smiles. And Bib has been to Istanbul many times to visit my good friend C.M. Kosman. And now I want to look up C.M. Kosman, find out who this is.
Many times. My goodness. Well, it does make it more likely that he would run into the two-nosed dog of Istanbul.
All right.
This person is a website.
Ooh, an artist. Okay. Now. Oh my gosh. Silvertail's very excited about this. Silvertail must know who this is and is like, you actually know him?
No, I've never heard of this person.
Wow. Well, soon I will get to say my good friend Piblaridian, who I will have met in person in roughly 5 months. I'm so excited.
You assumed that you were going to KopiCon?
Hey, I'm a speaker. I am showing up. You can't leave me
Allow
behind.
you to present distally.
Logan is too impressed. Is also impressed, is what I mean.
Mm.
Not like too impressed as in over impressed.
Mm.
Ah. Okay, so. And Mateus apparently mentioned that in the Q&A. Thank you, Miles. I'm not just going to show up. I'm going to glow up. Woohoo! All right, so we have entered that information. So now we won't forget.
I guess now it makes it more likely. So then you went to Istanbul and you were hunting for the two-nosed dog. Like, that was part of the reason then. Wow.
Where are we now?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, the lesser Graham Greene novel, because, of course, Graham Greene famously wrote the script for The Third Man, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And he has and in my opinion, lesser novel that is called The 10th Man. It's a real thing. Anyway.
We haven't typed this out, even though we did have a genitive. And so if we want to type up possession, we finished demonstratives for now. We figured out some copula stuff. I don't think we've ever also fully done case. We had talked about having the object marked by a particle. And that note was up above where like bark was one of the ideas. Now I don't know where that was. Okay. Now I need to find bark because it was one of the ideas. Here we go. A causative auxiliary was my idea. But
you know what that's a lot like? Say.
Okay, so last night, listen, sometimes my brain doesn't make connections, I guess, the way it should. But it makes other connections in more exciting ways, I'd like to say.
That's true.
And so I was reading this thing that it was like talking about how many languages had causatives that directly come from the verb to say. And I like, legit, we're watching the end of season 2, Perry Mason at this point, which, by the way, a very good show. I make David pause the episode because I'm so excited by this fact. And I'm like, did you know how often, and it's not that it's so often, but like enough languages do it that people care, that the causative can come from the verb for to say? And David's like, yeah, sure. And like then goes on to be like, because, you know, like you can tell somebody to do something and then that causes it to happen. And his explanation is probably the correct one. But it's unfortunate because my interpretation, my connection that I had made was that there was the implication of magic in older versions of these languages where it's like, you said it, the water dried up, and it happened. And I was like so excited because I was going incantation route with it. David's probably right. And you're right. Indeed, I was even the one who suggested this.
Yep.
And it makes sense, but you know, maybe they're magical. They do have magic in this world.
That's true.
However, we did say that we were probably going to have some little verb particle grammaticalized here to stand in front of the object, and I don't think we have actually done that. Okay, so Miles has to go. Stay grammar. Oh my God, the horseman is the Tara Sargeret. Nice. Oh, you can do that with C too.
Yeah.
C that he does his homework. Nice.
I always wondered about treacle. I've only heard it mentioned disparagingly. But I also am under the impression this is a thing that people eat. It's not something that is used to grease gears in a machine. Is that right?
I thought it was like a really sticky candy.
I think it's a liquid, a viscous liquid, but a liquid.
We're going to pull this up here. This can be on the screen. It's a dark syrup, like molasses. It is molasses, perhaps.
Jonathan says, I'd love it. So, I mean, probably.
Treacle tart. Oh. Gingerbread without treacle is pointless. Well, let me say, Jake, if treacle is really just molasses, then yeah, that's where gingerbread gets most of its flavor from. That's what my ginger cookies have in it that you love.
Yeah,
it's got molasses.
Is there any difference between treacle and molasses? And if so, can you abandon this word, you British? It's kind of overplayed.
Okay. Oh, I can look it up on this.
Irony flavor.
Is treacle just molasses? Blackstrap molasses. It's the same thing. Also, and that's blackstrap molasses. That's what I use because I use the dark molasses.
Huh. All right, let's be done with the word treacle then. Spread the word to the rest of the internet. Treacle no more. Molasses is a better word.
All right, so this
sounds
person,
like a state, a United
WikiHow
States
claims that treacle tends to be sweeter than molasses. But molasses is usually thicker than treacle, so it'd be harder to wade through molasses. And then, of course, you know, we have our great American phrase, it's slower than molasses on a cold winter day.
Yeah.
Or molasses in January. You could go either way.
Treacle is typically sweeter and thinner than molasses.
Yeah, which is why molasses is, you know.
Yeah.
I think we could be done with treacle, though. Go straight for molasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I'd love to do a treacle molasses sampling.
Kara says, let's be done with the word molasses. No!
Mm-mm.
We will not stand for such things.
Mm-mm.
Magpie. You know what? Yes, it is the perfect word.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I wanted to be double sure. We're not. We only have palatals. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have alveolar palatals or alveolar those guys. So our post-alveolars, we only have palatals, and so we're actually spelling those with a Y. So I had to respell something in the table because we had a ZH. It's supposed to be a ZY.
Yeah. Side note: if Jake's at KobeCon, they may sneak as a tin of treacle.
Okay, you gonna try to say it's a solid?
A small tin. You can fly with small tins of liquids.
All right. Can you fly with many? It's like put it into a bunch of small tins.
Well, I mean, there's a limit to how many you can fly with.
Really?
Yeah. Hence the baggie of liquids you're allowed.
What? No, you just have to put all the liquids in a bag. You could have a bunch of them.
No, there's a limit to how many you can have.
You can carry liquids in checked luggage anyway. True enough.
Oh, checked luggage. Yeah, you can do as much as you want. Most people, Jake has to carry the travel size treacle at all times. Yes. But yeah, I just assume most people try not to check luggage because who wants to pay them extra money?
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. So look, we do have the.
So we did make it. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it come from?
Oh, it's just one of the noun cases. No, it's just one of the prepositions. I was just trying to see how do we do what is it? I for genitive?
Yeah.
All right.
Which I think is just a schwa in its old form, but I will tell you.
No, what's its modern form?
Yeah, Oh, it's AE. And then it's modern form. I swear
like we had this written up.
Here we go.
Oh, there we are. Ah or I. Oh, how are we going to spell that if that's the only instance of ya?
At the end.
Ah.
Why wouldn't we spell it with a Y?
We can spell it with a Y or an I.
Oh, I thought we were spelling it with a Y because the whole point was it's going to be like whatever. Like it's going to kind of attach to the next unit.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. That settles that. It's going to be the only place that Y occurs. No, it's not. It's going to occur in, well, never mind. Never mind. You know what? It doesn't matter. This is just the romanization. It's just to help people pronounce it. That's all. So yeah, you're right. Absolutely. 100%.
This is the second time today I've been right.
Oh, I'm sure there have been more instances than that, but...
But second time you've said, I'm right today.
Yeah.
The first one was texted. I didn't miss it.
That's right. Okay. So
and Jake wants to know if you've ever tried golden syrup, which...
Never heard of it.
I'm not sure. Interesting. And Bubba will bring you fresh salsa if he makes it to Coffee
Cup. Probably gonna pass on that there. But,
oh man!
My goodness. All right. Okay, so
for anyone not in the know, Bubba's version of salsa is very different from David's version of salsa. And and we would get some good meme reactions from David trying it, I think.
That sounds interesting to me. Hey Jess, can you take us down to the noun function?
I sure can.
Section. Okay. Noun possession specifically. Uses the genitive preposition for possession, and I don't think that we're going to have any type of distinction between alienable and inalienable. Is that correct?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Hey there, Kyle. Okay. So there's no distinction between alienable or inalienable. Come on. Possession as the we little preposition is so and very we. Here are some examples.
So very.
And then.
Oh no! For anyone who hasn't been on Discord in the last 48 hours, I added a new emoji that it's hard to see. The bigger version, you can definitely see it, but of course the emojis are just so small, it's difficult to see. But there was just a great thumbnail that YouTube pulled out as a suggestion for make this the screen capture that everybody sees when you pull up the episode. And out of an entire hour's worth of recording, it pulled a snapshot of me looking just straight up bored off camera, just staring out into the ether, just absolutely unamused with everything going on. And then David is looking right at the computer with a look of huh? On his face. And so I called it the unamused and confused emoji. But yeah, David's absolutely baffled, and I'm just whatever.
Also, I would like to draw your attention to this table above, the gray table. Mm-hmm. I would like you to note that the dual, paucal, pacal, and plural all have sandwiched into them the genitive preposition.
Spelled with an I at the end.
Spelled with an I at the end. Now, we can change it. It's up to you.
Well, how would you actually say it, knowing that phonetically our goal had it for, had been for it to be like AJ? Would you just say mamayalo or would you say mamayalo for the Paco?
Memayalo. Memayalo. Kayalo.
And so you're saying it more like the diphthong, so the I is more appropriate. You're not saying like kayalo.
I don't think so. Kayalo. 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 Kayalo.
Oh, this is like half dozen of one, six of another.
You know what it reminds me of? Shira, which has two different pronunciations, Shira and Shira. And it's like, they sound very different to me, but it's all about that stupid American R and whether it's actually acting as a coda or not. A tautosyllabic coda.
We have recently had a lot of discussions about vowel space and how I can't hear the difference between vowels and really have no idea when I'm producing one or another.
But you heard that difference, right?
I did, but it's not as big of a deal to me, I guess.
Oh, it's huge.
Like,
It's catastrophic. It's...
Huh. Ooh, Kara says that could be the name and cover of our Led Zepp tribute album. Unamused and confused.
Oh, man. Jessie just put up a Moira quote for her daily quote board.
Not daily, monthly.
Monthly.
Woo, that'd be way too much work to keep up with it daily.
Yeah.
But yeah, every month I change out my quote board.
The quote is, "If airplane safety videos have taught me anything, David, it's that a mother puts her own mask on first."
Thought it was appropriate for Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, what do you think, Jess? Y or I?
I like how I looks, so let's go with I.
Okay.
So, done. Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, wait, did we already have that typed? And then I realized, no, you had just typed that based on what I had said. So, no, we're good.
Okay, so there's the dog's floppy ear. Let's, I don't know, how about the, there's the bird's name, Dogo Ahuav. Bird's floppy name. I would like to show some variety here. Do we have anything that, and some more nouns that begin with a vowel that are possessors?
I'm actually sorry. I'm just looking at our examples again in the numbers, and we didn't note it. Why we blended the genitive form with the number?
It's noun, genitive, noun.
And so it's really a pooling of dogs.
Yeah.
But the mema just got kind of shortened up just because they were both grammaticalized.
Yes.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah. Memoram.
Wait, did you say you wanted more examples?
Yeah, so like more nouns that begin with a vowel that are likely to be possessors. I'm really, really liking this language. It's very homey, very rustic. Reminds me of sitting by the fire and telling tall tales.
We may need to create some words.
Let's create some words, and let's con us some Lang.
Because we've been really going to CVC structures for a lot of our nouns, and by a lot I mean all of them except for like floppy ear.
Yeah, so we definitely need...
all of our vowel initial segments right now are verbs outside of that. And so, oh, fun, Mateus. Cool. Wait, we already conned you of your podcast? How'd we con you of your podcast? Is it the podcast we're going to make you wait for? Okay. Even all of our suggestions down here. Oh, we already did mem, so we're going to take that out of our suggestions. All of our suggestions are like CVC as well. And so, Let's get a noun that would be a possessor.
Possessor. Let's see.
That starts with a vowel. But let's first think of what noun we want to do.
You know,
Do that.
so we every single breed of dog that's going to exist, they'll probably have a word for that breed of dog. And each one can have its own tradition. So one might have like a compound for their name. Another one might have something that's basic. I could see one of them calling themselves, Vram Vram. We're the dogs. The most basic dog, or like the most prototypical dog.
The doggiest of the
doggiest
dogs.
of dogs, which of course would be the beagle. And then,
German Shepherd. It's like the doggiest dog.
Out of here. The German Shepherd is actually where the term hot dog comes from, because it's actually a shortening of a haughty dog, because that's what German Shepherds are. Haughty dogs.
Anyway. Ha 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 ha. I mean, haughty. In a really random side note, in the Finnish Duolingo class, they keep asking this question.
Oh, that's right.
Let's see, just said, let me get it right. Onko tuo kuuma koira makkara.
Yes. Which means?
Is that hot dog a sausage?
That's right.
And it's literally hot dog, which makes me wonder, did they calc it like Spanish did, perro caliente, hot dog, like the food, or are they just making a joke? Like, is that dog that's hot and sweaty a sausage?
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I think they're making a joke. I don't understand why the word "that" is in there. Like it didn't need to. Like they could have just asked, "Is a hot dog a sausage?"
No, but it's that one in particular. Is it that hot dog I'm looking at?
By the way, it sounds, when you get a geminate K in between two A's, it sounds a little bit like a Q. Makkara.
Oh, Logan thinks the doggiest dogs are dingoes and coyote dog hybrids. And that's the form that feral dogs will revert to in a few generations. Oh.
Well, I'll tell you something different, because I met up with a team at, I believe, Boston College that's researching dingo communication. And they constantly go to Australia to a very specific dingo farm. And what they have said is that dingoes are a lot like cats in terms of their behavior.
I often wonder, because, foxes are, of course, the cattiest of the dog family.
Yeah.
But, coyotes feel like a step in between, too, because, I don't know. I think a wolf is probably what I think of as the doggest dog that you can be. If you want to be like the doggest dog, it's a wolf.
So, by the way, I just decided to take a look. Finnish has nakkisempilä, which is clearly a compound. Hodari, I don't know what that is. Hodari, and then hot dog, just borrowed straight with the English spelling.
Nice.
Nakkisempilä is wiener roll. Hodari is English hot dog plus the "ari" suffix. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, Jake says in Spain, perrito caliente is the standard. That's great. I love it. And in Portuguese, well, I'm not going to say it right because I never know how to pronounce Portuguese. Cachorros quentes. Nice. And Silvertail's trying to keep us on track. VC form, anything that ends with ho is interesting.
Yeah. So let's do a dog name. What is a dog name that you feel like they might name themselves and have a basic VC form? And it could be, VCW, like Silvertail's suggesting, because that's going to end up being VCB.
Well, I mean, to me, it would be a little yippy dog, like a Chihuahua or something. They want something short. They may actually have a triple compound.
Yeah, no, I think so.
They would be like, "Bom."
But like, if you think about something ending in "auch," right? It could be imitative of their call. What dog has a call like either "auch" or "oh"? "Oh, oh, oh."
Sounds like Winston trying to breathe. So maybe not Winston. Wilfred got my W's wrong. Simple. The Frenchie.
Oh, I was thinking something radically different. One of those very big dogs.
Have you heard the Frenchies with their little compressed snouts?
Yeah.
But I mean, it could also be a Winston dog. My other W.
What type of dog is
well,
it?
we could go with either because he's half Great Pyrenees and half Andalusian.
It's very specific, isn't it?
It really is.
Mm.
But I mean, if you're going to go Great Pyrenees, I think Great Pyrenees is the largest of the domesticated dogs.
That might be interesting.
Pyrenees, the largest breed.
What is a Mastiff specifically?
Oh yeah, so Mastiff, Saint Bernards, and Great Pyrenees.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I do like
Saint
Bernards.
Saint Bernards.
Mastiff dog. Okay, so those are the Mastiff.
That's the dog. That's the dog. That's the
gonna
one.
Be, oh.
I think with an O.
And then Saint Bernards. When I was a kid, that was my favorite kind of dog.
Yeah, those are good.
Here's some good pictures. Oh, look at those floppy ears that just need to be petted.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have some sort of a term for them, as opposed to just a single word.
I think they're gonna,
Oh,
look at those beautiful dogs.
Those are good.
That's the Great Pyrenees.
But no, I think that it's a very pretty dog. I think it's going to need something different. But no, I think for the
Anatolian, that's what he is, not Andalusian.
For the Mastiff,
that's what he's half.
Oh,
that's his other half.
For the Mastiff, like the modern form would end up being Ojo. I think that's great. Ojo.
Okay. Ojo. So what was this? A?
No, O.
O.
Qua. It's right above. If you want to copy it, or yeah.
Oh yeah, it is right there. So I will do that. Becomes
O. So it's an O.
Oh wait, which is.
Well, yeah, but we're doing like IPA.
No, but I was so excited that we had that. Oh, and then the R.
Yeah, so Wheeler.
Like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And now we're going to spell it like this?
Yeah, well, both of them. Both the O's.
Oh, that's right, because it's reduplicated.
And then probably want to put that in bold and italic so that we know it's...
Yes, I will. Because it's important to make your examples stand out.
You're just dropping little hints and things for the upcoming podcast. Okay, and so now this is going to be, and then we'll have this be it'll be the floppy ear of the...
Oh, sorry.
Because they do have, this is going to be the Mastiff's floppy ear, because they do have floppy ears.
Yeah, right there. Check out those.
Mm-hmm.
Those floppy ears.
All the way,
ojo. Look at all these nice.
All the way, ojo. Ojo. Oh, this is great. This is great. Okay, so, yeah, that's
okay.
Pretty good.
Jake, no. However, we should do a romanization podcast, and it's just going to be called David's Hot Takes.
Well, if you think about it, the last few podcasts, like, you've been speaking the most. Maybe we could do one like that.
Where you speak the most?
Yeah, and if we were talking about romanizations.
I would never get a word in edgewise.
Mm-hmm.
You comparing me to a mastiff now?
No, that was me making that noise.
Silvertail is giving us an OED, Oxford English Dictionary. What does that come out to? Okay. OED with this, because I can just copy and paste. We're going to apply that and see what we get. Oh, that is kind of fun. Comes out as old.
What happens to it becomes ja. Oh, wow.
Oh.
How about that?
So are you saying like the dogs howl?
No, it's going to be the first name because I couldn't think of anything else. But it was.
I'm going to go down to where David is here so you can see.
First name. I know.
It's like the Dust Bunny's name.
And then, so we can see it, the dog's fur. There. Okay, that's good enough. All right, that is good enough. We have that entered. I think that's pretty good. I think that we should take a moment to celebrate, despite the fact that we haven't done a ton. I know,
We have a name for a mastiff.
We've been getting a little distracted, but.
And we're back reunited with our Kopiko.
Hooray! Oh, that's right. We didn't have Kopiko last time.
Oh, that was some good oatmeal, though.
Granola.
Granola, I mean. Good granola. I don't think you technically should have eaten it, because I was right that it was indeed a nut-based granola.
Oh, yeah.
Were you okay after that?
I had a hive somewhere, but, I always do.
Cheers. To hive-free snacks for David. And literally, like, it was after it was already in my mouth, I was like, oh, we should have asked if this had nuts. And David was like, nah, it's fine. Kopiko, a nut-free experience.
Kopiko, the only hive you get is hive. Very good.
No.
Pudding around.
Hive could be a portmanteau of high five. Hive.
All right. I think that's good enough.
Jonathan's calling you out. Not your best effort.
No. Okay. What were we doing with adjectives? Copula.
That's a really great question.
Let's skip that and actually go down to the copula and talk about negation, because we should do that.
And good old turquoise de prix.
Yeah. Okay, because we have locative. Yeah, fleet, ex locative Y. And because I want examples of this so that we can get rid of these.
Oh, like an example for each, so that way.
Yeah, but also, yeah. I don't remember why this is here.
Oh, that's because you weren't paying attention at the time. You and John were having a chit chat while I was participating in the chat on the stream.
It's really cool. That's not how you spell turquoise, though, right?
Yeah, it is.
No, this is.
Well, it didn't underline it. Oh, it sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, never mind.
Okay, but anyway, here, let's grab, I'm going to write up some examples.
Does turquoise have to have an E?
Pretty sure.
I guess so. Well, all right. You know what? We'll add it in for David.
And so now it becomes turquoise.
No, nope. It's spelled differently. It's not actually the color. It's a name. It's a name. Can't do it.
All right.
We got to keep our 1930s investigator, private eye, detective series going of Turquoise Dupuis.
Okay, when used in their copular function.
I got a little idea. You go on.
They function more or less as follows. Okay. Okay. Positive equative. So, the dog is a mastiff, for example. Tall. Ovram, genitive. Okay, there we go. Dovram ayoho. The Dovram ayoho. The dog is a mastiff. I don't know about in the conlang per se, but like we mentioned that dog breeds are going to have their own. They might bring their own vocabulary, so this language is going to be rich in synonyms.
Jake says it's turquoise in Old French. Yes, that's right. Miles was sticking with the classics.
Why did they add the E though? Why did the S just drop out and become turquoise? Weird. Anyway, negative equative. The dog is not a mastiff. And now, positive locative. Oh boy. Man, where's Ilona? We haven't seen Ilona in a while. And
you ready to practice some Finnish?
Well, yeah, and they need to know that we're going to be in Finland. So we need hot Rex.
Got to know all the local foods, like find out if they're really, kummakoira dishes. And if we should try them, are the makkara.
Makkara. An important note, I had vram in there, but that's of course the consonant mutated form. Should have been bram. Dobramayocho. The dog is a mastiff. All right, so now this is the locative.
Judging so hard.
And the locative is what?
It used to just mean Turkish. And then its use was so tied up with the Turkish stone that it gets used with the E now. Wow, that is so cool. Okay, the locative is...
It's just like any old locative.
Oh.
But let's go ahead and use the essive. O. Okay, now the dog is, we need a place for a dog to be. And so we might need a new word.
We do woods, field.
Yeah, forest, field, grass, cave.
Would it be like what if we wanted to say like the dog is not at the river?
Just got a new slogan. Opicon, the only place to be.
Indeed. Like, would you be able to distinguish in this language the dog is at the river versus the dog is in the river?
Yeah, with more verbiage. These are just the basic prepositions.
Mm-hmm.
Which
do you think the essive would be if you had river as your place?
I would say in.
In? Okay.
Yeah.
But that could be a place where they are.
Yeah, but like context would also determine. So like if you knew that like there were a group of people going and that part of what happens is that they have a little, holiday or play area next to the river, then the locative would be understood in that context as being at the river. But it's like
nice, Jake. But yeah, I like forest. We need a word for forest.
Go for it. Anything for forest. Or you. What's
actually? We don't have number in here, right? Interesting. What about a reduplication then of tree? Because if it's a tree, but the tree is like where all the trees are. So let's do tree. Do you care if it starts with a consonant or a vowel?
No.
Okay. Then I'm going to throw out, we have bel, koa. Oh, and we have my beloved quo. And I say beloved because the g is fun.
Oh, Need to Know by Tom Petty? I need to know, if you think you're gonna leave, then you better say so. I need to know.
It might be heavy reduplicating it though.
I can hold on. Well, that's weird. And that's certainly syllabified.
That is interesting, though.
It's probably doing that because of the labialization of the f, but we can just ignore that. Fell. So it'd be fell.
Silvertail Says by Doja Cat.
Oh. It's Tom Petty.
Very different song, Silvertail Says. Never heard the one you're singing.
Well, I know. That's why I said it's by Tom Petty. Kind of like fell, but if you don't, I understand.
No, let's do it. Let's do fell. Fell is tree. And is that going to be just spelled F, grave accent L? Is this how it's going to be spelled?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'll change it, don't worry. I'll change it to bold and italics. And then we're going to do some fell action.
It sounded like a cat.
And fell is forest, woods.
Yeah.
Words. Ah, I did it again.
Now you go ahead and go to Turquoise de Prix to show everybody what the completed sentences look like. I'm going to go to our sound changes briefly.
Oh my God. Jonathan says we just glued toal because the toal word for tree is fed. That's really cool. Wait, it wouldn't be fell, it'd be pel. Oh, because of the M. The M. It's changing it up.
I am aware of Doja Cat, of course. One of her songs, at least, is on Meridian's playlist. Selected by me and put there on purpose.
Jonathan has another conlang, Mendutme, and the word for tree in that one is fiel, and they didn't even notice they had done that until just now, that it's fel in one language and fiel in another, that they had created.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
That is.
Now I want to go through. I want to see what all my words for tree are.
But I also just heard you pronounce that name of that language, which I've seen many times. And I evidently was misreading it a lot. I thought it was like mean to me.
I think it's in the right order there. I think so. I may be misremembering it. Maybe I've been metaphysizing things.
That's odd, Jake. Meridian loves dance music.
Or as that character on Star Trek who should know how to pronounce everything, metathesis.
That character on Star Trek. We'll get Jesse there.
Jonathan says I was right. Hey, at least I know about that instance.
Well, we had a little discussion about this once in the conlang list back in, I think, 2002, I think. How we became very familiar with everybody's languages and the language names because we would see them all the time. But we would just kind of glance at them and recognize the name. And sometimes not think very seriously about how they were pronounced. And so we started a thread about, like, how do you pronounce this language name in your head?
Oh, nice.
And it was like...
And then follow that up with, how is it really pronounced?
Yeah, like, I remember, like, there's this one language, I knew it wasn't pronounced this way, but whenever I saw it, it was Stekbelski's language. And whenever I saw it, I thought it was like, I would just say Ragbayani. Like, that was...
Ooh, that's a fun word, though.
It is Rachbelgamki.
Oh, that is way different.
Rachbelgamki, than LM.
Wow, David. That's worse than Biblaridon.
Yeah, I know. I would just say Ragbayani in my head.
Wow. The cow song. Boy, now I'm just so interested. But no, that would be kind of fun. Oh, my next question of the week should be, how do you pronounce your language name? So we can make sure we're saying things right. Try to remember to double check that. Okay.
So I'm trying to find out.
David scrolling through sound changes, always a very dangerous pastime.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm going to trace the evolution of this, see where that... Okay. Applied dognification.
What's the dognification rule again?
But yeah, Graham,
really
if you're still here, your syllabification rule is taking a coda L and putting it as the onset in front of a that's not right.
So specifically, Graham, David put this in as the input.
Yeah.
And it's making the L phi an onset of the second syllable, so making it fe, as the two syllables, and then that's labializing the L because it's followed by that labial consonant, is what it's doing. I looked up dognification.
Oh,
you spelled it wrong. That's why it didn't pull up in my search. Dognificiation.
Oh, God, that's really embarrassing.
David added an I, so it wasn't dognification. It was dognificiation.
That's terrible. And here it is. Oh, and by the way, things naturally labialize in front of bilabial or labial sounds, so we just don't write that.
We did such a number on these sound changes. We're like, I don't know.
But like, you just...
This happens.
You just don't write it, fel. I mean, yeah, it's naturally labialized, but you don't write it. So, fel. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Anyway, okay, Good. That explains that.
Jonathan, if you sent something in IPA, no, it did not go through.
Oh, you know what? Anyway, shoot. I was going to get into negation, but we're going to
take a slight
detour. I mean, it's good that we have these examples. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to segue.
I'm so excited to find out what we're segueing to, because he's like completely changing desktops over here.
So Logan sent an email about color space.
Oh my goodness! Are you gonna read it out loud right now with a very dignified, dognified voice?
No, I'm actually gonna skip the color space. I was just gonna try to summarize it because it was the other one that was following up on our last one.
Okay.
And also, like, there's some key things that I'm missing here, where it's like, it was like, basically dogs can distinguish all colors that humans can. And then it was like, but they can't actually distinguish all colors humans can. That was what it came down to. So maybe.
Well, there's a difference though, because it's like, they may be able to distinguish that it's a different color, but it may be like on the same spectrum for them, whereas to us it's a different spectrum and we get a different color name. For them, it may be like a lot of shades of gray, and they can distinguish among them all, but they're all like gray. They don't show up as like blue, green, yellow, you know?
It's not that different from the lexical structure of human color spaces, but missing some bits. And with no way to distinguish light, dark from saturated, unsaturated. That was, I think, the crucial thing. It may be more intellectually honest to just say that they have an LS chromatic axis rather than a red-violet axis, but I don't think LS were ever defined. Wait.
Oh, Jonathan said that their comment was about language name pronunciations, and they had specifically mentioned Zeiler.
Which I never said that. Standard note. Here we go. Standardly notated as the short and long cones. It's commonly believed that dogs cannot distinguish red from green because they only have one L cone rather than the combination of M and L cones that humans have. That's kind of like claiming that humans couldn't possibly tell the difference between red and orange. Our three cones would suggest, yeah. So that was my takeaway. It makes sense to have the following progression of basic color terms, but the progression is only two steps here. We have L plus black, white, gray, and then we have LS, black, white, gray. So the end would be 5, and then further distinctions from there. But then, what do L and S? What colors do they distinguish?
We're about to get a meal drop.
Woo! Anyway, but the other thing this was the important one that I wanted to get to. Logan sent a long email about basic odor terms. For special stages of odors is much more high dimensional than that of sight, and dogs would probably pay more attention to that than humans, but it's hard to survey dogs on their perceptions.
Fair.
Yeah. It turns out that for people who speak languages with basic odor terms, there are two strong principal components that can be factored out of the higher dimensional lexical space. In total, it's approximately 10-dimensional, corresponding to two very comprehensible axes along which odor terms are arranged. There's the pleasant versus unpleasant axis, and the edible, safe versus dangerous axis, and that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I say, well, most foods smell good. There are edible items that smell terrible, and nice-smelling things which absolutely should not be eaten. So these are, in fact, independent axes. Sorry.
Nice.
Okay. So you could just divide that space into 4, 9, or 16 squares or whatever, assign names to each cell and be done. But of course, human languages are not that neat, and dogs would probably care about more dimensions of some sort. Okay.
Oh, I like that comparison. So there was a line in here that Logan wrote that, like, you know, where dogs may have 2D color and 3D smell, in contrast to, humans having more of like a 3D color and kind of 2D smell. And it's not, not saying that's a perfect comparison, but like it's a good way to think about it where it's like so much multi-dimensional. Because like our color spectrum is going to be a lot more dimensional than theirs, but then their smells are going to be like looking way.
He points out that.
Oh, and Logan says there's supposed to actually be 4 stages, but should have numbered them for clarity. I think about the color. I think that's back on the color.
Oh, well, only 2 came through. It might have gotten misformatted. So take a look at the email you sent. Maybe it didn't format the way you intended. Anyway, Logan points out that Totenek doesn't have a word for to have an odor. You have to use a specific term, but that was...
Oh, wow, okay.
And I get that. It was always going to be too difficult. Same thing with like tree. Lots of languages don't have a generic word for tree, but... So for inspiration, here is a list of approximate categories for some of the things that human languages have basic odor terms for, and there's a list of 29.
Woo!
So here is, this is interesting, like 12 is dirty feet and fish. I don't think those sound very much the same, but smell very much the same, but dirty feet and vinegar are identical. They have identical smells. And I see that vinegar has been separated out. Vinegar and citric acid, I would swap fish and vinegar for those. Smells which permeate the air. Smells which are brought on the wind. Oh, this is actually...
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
It's very, very different from just a type of smell. And of course, there's the blood and raw meat smell. A bloody smell which attracts tigers, crushed bugs. Mint, parsley, tobacco, and other herbs, but they all smell so different.
I'm sorry, you skipped right over strongly scented flowers and bear cats / popcorn. Number 26.
Well, it can be really confusing. Sometimes you reach into a bag of popcorn and take a bite, and it turns out it was a bear cat.
That is amazing. I love it.
You go to pet a cute little bear cat, and you just end up just like brushing popcorn everywhere. It does a little.
Nice.
And he says, and we could go on. Then why did you stop at 29?
Kara says, because at some point you just gotta. Kara says that bear cats stink of popcorn. Their urine does.
Wow.
What? Okay, I've obviously never been around a bear cat, so like I have no idea. This is blowing my mind.
Yeah. So he says that the largest number of distinct odor terms in a single language that he's found is 45.
I feel like a lot.
Which is like, it's not super surprising because like if you just think about English, we might not have distinct words for these odors, but it doesn't mean you can't say what they are.
Right.
It just begins with the smell of blank, you know? And it's like, and even there, like, what I think is interesting is that there are superordinate terms. Because it's like, if you think of herbs, like you just say the smell of blank herb, and it's a distinct smell for like 60, whatever different herbs that we know of. What's interesting is that there's actually a superordinate term that collects them into one type or area or avenue of smell.
Would you call that herbaceous?
I guess so. Okay. Ooh, schlompifications.
Oh, thank you, Graham. I'm actually gonna.
Oh, Logan has experience with bear cats.
Whoa! I'm gonna do a little reset here and reopen. I don't know if that actually. We'll see if I need to actually close it to do my reset. Whoops. Actually, I don't remember what I did for that.
But I think that some of the most interesting things are suggestions that Logan made at the very end of the email. Because, of course, these things are often, culturally specific or related to, like, the speakers.
Look at that. It's fixed.
Oh, nice.
That is exciting. Okay. Well, there are definitely grassy smells.
But Logan recommended things like, for dogs, things like smells like a relative, smells like mine, smells like young dog, smells like old dog, smells like familiar dog, smells like strange dog, smells like predator animals, smells like prey animals, smells angry, smells agitated like adrenaline, smells like other dog in heat. And honestly, that seems reasonable and useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll have to think about how to carve these up, because of course, even with this, it's not necessarily the case that all of these things are going to be basic roots. They certainly don't have to be, and it's very easy to make compounds that are still relatively small in this language. So there's no reason that these things couldn't just be compounds. In fact, could just be compounds using the word smell, and it would be still pretty small.
Mm.
Huh.
Indeed. It is Caleb, though. It is very rude.
Yeah. So I think what I might do is, with Logan's permission, I might take some of these and format them into a post, maybe a list, and put them on the Patreon. Now maybe we can, yeah,
discuss from there.
mull it. Yeah, see about how we want to divide things up. Okay.
And he said, mull it, not mullet, the hairstyle. Like mull it over versus mullet. I just want to point that out. Because that's what I heard when you said it. And I was like, why? What does the hair have to do with thinking about things? Don't look at me that way.
Give you a very looky look.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Not quite the lookiest of looks, but.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Tethys. Glad you're here. Regular speed.
All right. So I want to. Okay. So now we've got that, and we've turned that into an action item, and so we know what action we are taking. I want to go back to negation, and so if we can go here, because we have some options here.
Okay. Jinx.
Dang. All right.
Jonathan is also giving me a bit of a look. Oh my goodness.
Because we stand at the crossroads of deciding what to do with sentential negation. Pardon me. Just going to keep that there. That's a lot better. Okay. And we have some options. First, we need a verb that's not a copula. I know that we have a couple. Hopefully a transitive verb.
Oh, a transitive. I think we have chase, don't we?
I think we do. Yeah, chase. Well, that was what gave rise to.
Do you want a new transitive verb, like one that's not? Because all these were used for grammaticalization.
Yeah.
So do you want something like completely?
Yeah, let's come up with a new verb. Well, actually, don't we need to actively sniff?
Yeah, if you. Oh, I mean, you could just sniff, like if you have a runny nose, but.
No. I'd like to
sniff something is.
Yeah. We need something for that. Have a nice sleep, Mateus.
Stay grammar, Mateus. Get better.
If you want to throw out a suggestion for sniff before you go, that's a thing you can do. But what sounds good for sniff?
Sniff. How do you even say this? Wah.
Wah.
That's not sniffy. Nothing we have there is really sniffy. I don't like them.
From grammar we came to grammar.
Shall we return? Yes, yes. I was picking up what you were laying down there.
Mm-hmm. We have Kyle's suggestion.
Buff. I was also thinking something that started with an L.
Okay.
Like maybe going to a uvular fricative.
Okay.
Like lourd or lourd or lourd.
Let's give it a shot.
Voiced or voiceless, whichever seems more interesting.
And now I'm going to type in some forms. And also...
Oh, we could also do something like doing it the other way. Like hul. Hul.
All right.
I was thinking though, going from like
okay,
because it's like when you sniff, you kind of towards the back of your throat. So it's just kind of going onomatopoeia. Oh, hey, Ragdoll.
I'm gonna make a poll.
David's making a poll for our sniff verb. So we're gonna have something go to something. No, I did not want that. Okay, okay. All right, I'm ready with my entry. I just got to double click and fill things in when we're ready. Once we see how the poll goes.
There we go.
Bum, ba, da, ba. Drum roll. We've got, go ahead and read them out loud, David.
We have in the modern pronunciation, we have f, hol, luch, lur for sniff. F, hol, luch, lur.
Those are our sniff options. And silvertail, the kind of yellowish goldish colors here mean that they were introduced at some point during sound changes, so they're not protoforms, but then they were deleted. So the red ones are that they were protoforms that later got deleted. The goldish ones are like they were introduced before they were deleted. So it's like at one point in the language, these gold sounds existed, but they're not in the protoforms and they're also not in the modern forms. They're just kind of in between. And we decided to keep those in there just to remind ourselves that they are there at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's really funny is like I had forgotten that LangTime is the reason we started color coding these consonants.
Yep.
And if you go back to some of our other language documents, they're not. And it really throws me off when I'm like, but wait, what are the proto sounds? And like, it just absolutely throws me off.
Yeah, there's irregular usages of parentheses in older forms. Like Jesse made a lot of things better.
Thank you, smile.
All right, I think that's enough votes there. It is.
That's a good word.
All right, okay. So let's go back to our negation.
Oops, I meant to do that. And it actually doesn't change at all, right? The protoform is the same as the, well, doggone it. I think I hit caps lock. We'll find out. How were we spelling? Oh wait, we were actually writing schwa, weren't we? Are we writing schwa?
No.
What are we writing for a schwa?
A with a.
A, that's right. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to good old purple negation down here to keep up. And Tethys actually in my personal conlang, I too separated mine out so that way I had like a proto sound table and then all the sound changes listed underneath it and then a modern sound table. And the modern sound table honestly doesn't do much for me other than remind me like what is possible in modern sounds. And so anytime I want to create words, I only look at the proto table and go there.
Okay, so I'm gonna write sentence here. I'm gonna get rid of this.
I'm gonna teach pages a new word. Oh my god, it could be Essie though. I'm gonna learn that spelling. Why was essive in red lines? Oh, there, now it's in red lines. I'm like, why did Turquoise Dupree get rid of the red lines? But it momentarily just like forgot things. Hue. Bram I ojo.
We're yeah.
Hue bram I ojo. Ojo.
Hang on, basically.
I'm just pronouncing what I see. I'm not saying that's the final form. I'm just trying to get into my ho.
Okay, I think this is V, right?
Graham, that should be my new sideline. SEMs.
Whoa.
Be my new name.
I think that, okay. Yeah, it's W or V before a vowel, and it's, and that becomes, before an O, right? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is correct. The dog sniffs the mastiff. That is correct.
Puff.
Puff.
Puff, I mean.
Puff bram woho. Puff bram woho.
Puff bram woho.
Great. So, when it comes to negation, we could do, and this might have to be the poll for the week, I'm not sure, but we might need to, that should be negative. We can use the negative equative, the negative locative. We can use both depending on the semantics of the verb, or we can do some other strategy. And so I don't have a good way of deciding which to do. What happens to F when it's
No, but while you look that up,
it becomes a V.
okay, option 2 is use negative locative as negator. Option 3, use both, but shift.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's going to be some options here. This could be that too. And so that's locative. Let's go ahead and, oh, that was positive. This should be bal, and this should be Q.
I have 4 options typed out. There are more. What do you want to say about them?
And then each of these have sub options in terms of like, in fact,
my keyboard is intense on the typing noises. It's a big keyboard.
So let's just, assuming that we did this one, let's just do this one. So this is the equative copula, the negative equative copula. And to means to shake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shake takes the genitive, right? So the dog shakes off sniffing the mastiff. Now, sniff ordinarily takes this the.
Mm-hmm.
There's no longer any argument here. Do you think that it would continue to have the? It would have nothing, or this verb is going to change to kind of like a nominalization? Because
like a sniffing of the mastiff.
Yes, in which case it would be genitive.
To me, it makes sense to say like a sniffing of the mastiff, but part of that is also because that's how we grammaticalize like a pulling of dogs. And so it just makes sense that it's a strategy the language already uses.
You're absolutely right. Okay, so that at least settles that. Helps to narrow down our field. That's very interesting. All right, and so some other option would be, for example, something like, I don't know. So this is going to be just some sort of a little negator particle comes first. It's probably going to have enough of a tie on this thing that it will assert some sort of, and then it's just not plus the regular verbal function. But still another option.
I'm going to type some literal translations here as notes. We can erase them later, but like I think it would be good, especially if this is going to be our poll, to remember. Okay, because Q is shake. Okay. I know the dog shakes off the sniffing of the mastiff.
Yes.
There we go. That's a more literal translation. And then more literal.
The dog flees.
Dog flees the sniffing of the mastiff. I'll put the dog up here because it's a smooth translation, but it at least.
And this.
And then this is just
not
literal is not sniff the dog, the mastiff.
Yeah.
And so that one's just regular sentence structure.
And then this bottom one is just a final sentence. Final negation doesn't affect anything. Literal, the dog.
Yeah, the dog
sniffs the mastiff, not. And you're gonna want,
This is the only one out of word order, so I'm just going to be like, not the dog. The doge. It was the only one like out of order.
Oh, out of English word
yeah.
Order. Got it. Okay.
Where this is, I'm going to underline that, just be like, it's up front. There we go. perfect. Because then I'm trying to make it clear this is like outside the structure.
Yeah.
It can still have effects on it, but it's still like a separate particle. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess we can have a little bit of a discussion if we want to get rid of one of these options. But like,
really, I just want to make sure they all sit well, because I would like to offer these. I think they're all good forms.
yeah, so the option where we use both, essentially, like all verbs would have to come into one of two classes, and so like I guess mostly locational ones. Yeah, how's that gonna work?
I actually
Forest.
just a second. Sorry, I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay. So like this is almost going into kind of, is it Sarkishe territory or Wokuthiju territory? Where we had three different kinds of negation, and it was like refusal versus like just didn't do it. And like, because I could feel like you could almost get different readings, and I feel like most of the transitive verbs I'm thinking of with the action end up being a little bit more directional, so the locative is really making a lot of sense in my head. Like they flee doing this. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think of like because with sniff it seems like both could work, because it's like, you don't have to go anywhere to sniff, or do anything to sniff. So I really feel like you could almost use either, because you could follow somebody sniffing, or you could, which is more locational, more activity, but you could also just stay in one spot, put your nose in the air, and sniff.
So that actually might be an option where the locative negative would be emphatic and the equative would be, sorry, the locative negative would be emphatic, the equative negative would be standard.
Just sort of doesn't, because essentially it's like you don't move, so it's just like like did the dog catch the ball? Nah, didn't even really. Just shook it off. Versus like he fled from it. Like he was like, oh my god, ball's coming, and ran.
Yeah. maybe let's do that for both, instead of having to separate verbs out.
Because that makes more sense to me, I think, to have like emphatic. Use both, but have equative be standard and locative be emphatic.
Yeah. And then option 4 would be initial.
It's like 4A is initial.
4A is initial mutating. Final is completely separate.
Okay.
And I'm going to do you a favor here.
Well, I wasn't sure if we wanted to keep them both sides, just still keeping them. So I like the reinforcement of those 4 different, well, not 4, 2 different here, copular verb constructions.
You want to get rid of one of these options?
I'm leaning towards getting rid of sentence final because the sentence initial we can lean into mutation, which we wanted. And it's just another way to reinforce one of the mutation forms that we have.
It's gone. It's gone.
And so I like that too. So whatever we choose, it reinforces a grammatical construction or a phenomenon that we've already implemented, and I really like that. And so that's cool. I also feel like if we ended up using the negative versions of the copular constructions, we may end up being able to work in a reason to use the positive for like some sort of emphatic reading or some sort of something reading, like a special reading that you wouldn't use for just a standard like the dog sniffs the mastiff. But if you wanted to be like, I don't know, I gotta remember where these come from.
Kyle.
Or like, ooh, like this could be like the dog appears to sniff a mastiff. Like I'm not sure, but he's giving off the scent of sniffing a mastiff.
Yeah. Kyle says for option 3 was something like imperatives. You could end up with equative equals don't and locative equals stop. That is also interesting. Yeah. Kind of like an emphatic imperative where you use the first as maybe a kind of a generic thing, and then like if you really mean it or you're talking about right this moment, then use the other one. That's cool.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. We could use the positive copulars to do something.
And something, like, and again, it wouldn't necessarily be like a standard wording for anything that's just like something you say every day, but like something that you could do because there is this pattern established for using the negative version in a more standard thing. So,
all right, I like it.
So that's cool.
I like it.
That makes me happy.
All right, cool. All right.
Into episode high five.
Okay.
And now you need to just talk for 8 minutes.
Well, I actually have 2 ideas, and I want to see which one you like better. One is to just
swing dancing.
Come up with more words because that's not going to happen.
No swing dancing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
You act like my body would break.
We will only slow dance.
There you have it, folks. Kopicon is only slow dancing.
Oh, what if we just sprung this on people at the last moment? Kopicon, it's not so much like a conference as it is like a prom. Oh my god. No talks.
See, we got to do it. We got to like teach the patrons. What were those called that were big in the early 2000s? The mass dancing mob dance.
Oh, flash mob.
There we go. Mob. See, but we got to do it at Kopicon where only the patrons are in on it. And so everybody else is going to be like, what's happening? And all the patrons are like,
oh, man,
doing their thriller dance or whatever.
I'm glad that flash mobs came and went. And if you don't remember what that is because you're too young, it's another Kopi. Yeah, there was one good thing to come out of flash mobs. There was this commercial. I don't remember what it was for. It was great, but it's like this guy he's like in a mall, and then like he's wearing a trench coat. And all of a sudden, he throws off his trench coat and he starts going like, we are. He's like doing something like that, and nobody else is doing anything. And he's like, the narrator says something like, like if your calendar is out of sync or something, and you didn't get the update about.
Amazing.
And then like he looks around like there's another like woman in a trench coat, and he's like looking at her, and she's just like,
no. Yeah. That's great. There's actually a Superstore episode made fun of flash mob things, and in one of the episodes, this guy is trying to propose to this girl and like has this whole thing planned, and so he starts it, and then everyone starts looking around, going, "Well, where is she?" And they realize she was on break, and so he was doing it, and she wasn't even there, and so then she just suddenly walks out and is like, "What's happening?" And he's like, "Start over, start over." Like But anyway, it was great.
Uh,
But no, I promise, no flash mob at KopiCon. Total joke. No dancing. No need to be worried.
well, I mean, I'm sure that you
Silvertail flash mobs are fun as long as you weren't part of it or near it.
so Jake asked me about the Venn diagram of conlangers and prom enjoyers. I mean, there's Jessie, who first of all was homecoming queen. Were you also prom queen?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were just homecoming
That's it.
queen. Just homecoming queen. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Anyway, what I was going to suggest is either that we come up with more words or we see about adding some official entries to the dictionary. Because I think
We
at
are ready.
this point, we know what we're going to need for nouns, which is we're going to have to list their mutated forms. But otherwise, like, they're not any noun classes or anything like that.
As much as new vocab creation sounds amazing, the dictionary entry sounds
super.
super.
Oh, Jake. Oh, Jake.
Wow, Jake.
Woo! We see who has the sass today.
Wow. But I think getting some dictionary entries started so we can move those down and out because we tend to put that off too long and we end up with documents like Sarkije where we literally have like 10 dictionary entries but like 50 words listed.
All right.
And Jake, just for that, no, we will not release the Sarkije version of Islands in the Stream at KopiCon if you're there. If you're not there, we will. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Let's see. We don't actually have C.
Jake says, since the coronation, I've been on fire. I'm always unnecessarily sassy. And that's why I love you. Okay.
N is a part of it. O, P, no Q anymore.
David's doing his alphabet.
No R, right? Wait, no, we do have an R.
Sorry. We have an R.
Yeah.
We got a row.
We did end up with an S. Yep. T, U, V,
oh my God, we
W,
ended up...
yep. Y we do not have. Z we have. Wait, apostrophe we do have. And of course, apostrophe is... No,
but apostrophe will never be word initial, right? Because it's going to follow the consonant to mark pharyngealization.
Well, how do we get the...
That's a really wonderful question, David. Why not just H with a pharyngeal marker?
What? Because H is pharyngeal.
Because the only H we have is pharyngeal, and then if you add it, then that means you voice it.
Honestly,
I don't know.
The only thing that I'm uncomfortable with in terms of the apostrophe for pharyngealization is that we use it in another language for ejectives.
Oh my. Caleb's prom's in 2014. That's... Oh, Bubba, 2018. Oof, got some youngins. Okay.
All right. So,
do you want to clean that up?
Oh.
Because if we do, we have 2 minutes. Or do you want to just do one entry to be like, we got one entry?
No. Oh, yeah. I was going to say I went to prom with my girlfriend, who ended up being the one that Meg Davey was named after.
I remembered correctly. I'm very proud of myself.
Okay, so I need your help. What was the exact protoform of Bram?
B-R-A-M, and it's of course the upside down R and then the fancy A. Yes.
Okay.
And that is also its modern form. It did no changes.
Yes, in terms of that. But then, okay, so then how should we list the mutations? So what should be first?
Okay, so...
We have laudative, essive, and genitive. I feel like the order should actually be reverse of that.
Yeah, because genitive should be the most common, right?
Yeah, genitive.
So that's going to be the palatal.
Okay, and so then I'm going to do...
So we'll do palatal, maybe nasal, and then this would be what? Voicing?
Essive is omram. And laudative is... Ovram, I think.
I think it does change to a V in that situation.
Yeah, let's double check.
Because I think we actually have that in our number chart. I think that's one of the...
Oh, shoot. I think...
Oh, it's memavram, where that genitive comes in.
How is that not a licit syllable structure? How can we not have... Ooh, that?
It's intervocalic, and so
Ovram.
genitive triggers it as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so
No,
it triggers the same mutation.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, so if you want to go down to our B's.
Mm-hmm. There it is in all its glory.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's not
actually
bad.
Do you want to the order I guess makes sense, but these two are often going to end up being related because a lot of our consonants are going to get that intervocalic mutation.
Yeah, but they'll sometimes be different.
That's true. So never mind. I was going to say put them one after the other. But no, that's good because I like that order. Okay.
All right.
Woo! I'm going to go down to dog on the English side. Dun, 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 dun. Bless. Dog. Put on.
Okay.
Done. Okay. And with that,
we're going to do one more.
Oh.
We're going to do one more.
One more.
Just for funsies. We're going to do Mastiff because I remember it.
Oh my God. Logan's prom was a glow stick rave. Oh my gosh.
Mastiff.
Oh my gosh. And that one's going to... Oh, wait. I don't need to go to the O's for the English side. I just need to go to the M's for the stiff. I'm laughing at myself. It's good. Oh, Mastiff. All right, but I will come up and catch David on this side to see.
So that's
nice. Very nice.
All right.
Hooray! And
thank you, Ragdoll.
I'm going to go up here, and even though we check this a lot, I don't think we're going to forget that we have dog and mastiff. I want to get them off of our list up here so we remember we entered them. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Oh, Bib's going to be free before the end of next week. I bet that means there's going to be a new episode at some point. And Volkswagen camper van. That's amazing. Okay, so yeah, homecoming is way more hyped in Texas than prom is. And also you gotta get those mums. Am I right, Silvertail? I never heard of mums until I went to and not just the flowers in case you're wondering, and not plural of mom in the British pronunciation mom. I mean homecoming mums, which are a whole thing in Texas and only in Texas. And it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, hope you all had a good episode. Hope you all have a good week. And yeah, we'll see you next week as normal. And then our Patreon live stream we had said would be on the 20th, right? Or did we not schedule that? I thought we talked about it.
I don't think we did, but
never mind. We'll talk about that
we
later
can
at some
probably do
point.
it, yeah.
But anyway, right? Mums get huge and ridiculous.
Oh, here, I'll stop it.
Oh, David's going to stop it for us. So everyone, stay grammar, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.